How you doing, guys? I wanted to make a video about how to protect yourself from counterfeit gold and silver coins. If you've been following the news, you probably saw the big hubbub about those Pamp Suisse bars, 10-ounce bars that were in New York discovered to be filled with tungsten. And for those of you who don't know, tungsten is so close in density to gold that all the traditional tests of weighing it, in density, unless it's extremely like laboratory level accurate, you won't discover it. And since there is real gold on the outside too, an acid test won't discover it either. You have to either do a ultrasound or drill through the bar and see what's in the middle of it. And from what I understand, it wasn't even that they counterfeited the bar and copied the serial number that was on the bar. They actually took the bar itself and hollowed it out, filled it, and then resealed it. That's what Zero Hedge article had said. So there weren't even two of the same numbered bars out there. So if that has you a little worried, I wanted to go through a couple quick things that you could do to prevent yourself, or at least extremely lower the risk of getting counterfeit gold and silver. Now I will say this, first of all, even with these are highly publicized incidents, but the risk is still pretty damn low of you getting getting counterfeit stuff if you buy from reputable dealers. So that would be my first step, is buy from reputable dealers. You may want to stay away from stuff from eBay. I mean, not that eBay is bad, but I prefer buying my stuff just from reputable dealers, not from someone on eBay that I've never heard of. Also, buying from specific companies. The bigger mints, this was a Pamp Suisse bar, but maybe the places that actually refine them themselves, like Perth Mint, or I think Atmex actually makes their own bars. They're more likely to have been recently melted down. Silver Futurist had a recent video where he talked to the Perth Mint. Apparently they melt most of the stuff that they get in, they melt and remake into Perth Mint bars. So it's probably less likely to be fake than stuff that's just been traded back and forth for a while. But there's a couple other things you can do, and the number one thing that you can probably do that will prevent you from getting counterfeit stuff is to buy the smaller items. Nothing bigger than like an ounce bar in gold, because while it is certainly possible to counterfeit these, it's not nearly worth the effort as much as it would be to do a 10-ounce bar. This is only worth about 1,800 bucks, right? So obviously a 10-ounce bar is worth a lot more, 10 times as much, and so it's worth it to take their time to counterfeit it. And it's a lot easier to counterfeit or hollow out a big bar or something like that than it is to try and mess with a little one like this without distorting it or ruining it. Second, if you get it that's in the assay card like this, you'll have a lot less issues. First of all, if you go into a retail level place like your local coin shop, or you're selling back to Atmex, most of them are not going to go through the trouble to crack this thing open, drill it out, or something like that to test it. If it has the assay card in there, the number checks out, and everything like that, you're probably good to go. So even in the rare instances that you may have gotten a counterfeit one, it's probably not going to be discovered if you already have it in the assay card and stuff like this. So you may be safe that way. I would never knowingly pass off counterfeit gold or silver to anyone, but if you don't know and they buy it and they don't check it, then it's on them, and you at least don't have to worry about it. And with these bars in question, they've been passed around for a lot of people before someone inexplicably decided to drill through his 10-ounce gold bar, which is pretty bizarre. I'm not sure why he would decided to do that, but I guess he thought something was up, so he drilled through it. And if you can go much smaller than 1 ounce too, you will be paying more of a premium. But for example, this 1 gram gold, it's almost like a flake. It's tiny. No way is this going to be counterfeited. It just would not be worth the effort, if it's even really feasible. I don't even know if it's feasible. And it certainly wouldn't be worth their time and effort to try and counterfeit something so small. I mean, you can see it's the size of a fingernail. Now, you will be paying a lot more per ounce when this is added up than you would if you bought them, but if your primary concern is staying away from counterfeit, then that's an option. And this is also in a smaller denomination for trade. If you wanted to sell off a little bit of it at a time instead of having to sell an entire ounce at once, those are an option. Now, the best thing, I think, is US coins, silver coins specifically. There is just no way that it is feasible to counterfeit. Not only is it probably even more illegal to counterfeit US currency than it is to just counterfeit a gold bar, it's a lot more difficult. And with something like a silver dime, there's only a couple dollars worth of silver in here to begin with. So it's really, really not worth their time to counterfeit something like that. So that's just a few things you can do to try and prevent yourself. Go with the reputable dealers, preferably the ones that actually do melt down their own stuff, because they're more likely to discover the counterfeits ahead of time. Buy the gold that's in the assay card sealed from a reputable dealer, and nothing bigger than 1 ounce. And for silver, the best bet is probably junk silver, because I've never heard of a silver dime like this being counterfeited. It's just not worth it. So let me know what you guys think, if you'd even heard of anyone coming across counterfeit stuff. It's rare to find. I've heard of it coming from Mexico and China and stuff. This is the first instance I've heard of a major counterfeiting or counterfeited bar in the US, and that's why it's made news, I guess. And in the Silver Futurist video, I'll put a link to his video because it's kind of illuminating. The guy that he talked to from the Perth Mint said that in his 20 years of working there or something like that, he had not even seen a single counterfeit bar. So don't get worried and think that this is a real big issue, because like with these bars, even if you had a counterfeit bar, unless it gets really bad and people start really intensively checking every one, it probably wouldn't get discovered anyway, even when you sold it. So don't worry about it too much, but those are a few things you can do to mitigate the risk and turn an already low risk into a really low risk if that's what you're worried about. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you later. I think this 1 ounce gold bar. Whereas a 10 ounce gold bar is obviously worth a lot more than that. And 10 times as much, actually. So, especially